Ready to go. Let's go, man. Let's get this game started, bro.
Get the game started. Blow the whistle. Show the world. Let's go to that.
What is up, everyone? Welcome into another episode of The Cut. I am your host, Christian Williams, and I am here, as always, with Randy Hall. Randy, how are you, dude?
Doing great. Running off 4 hours of sleep. But I get an off day finally tomorrow, so we're full tilt finishing this night, having some fun here, and then just sleeping for like 13 hours or something stupid.
There you go. Yeah, that's good. I'm sure you're gonna pass out shortly after, because that's a lot of work, not a lot of sleep. Yeah, I'm in the midst of like 12 straight days at work, so
It's death.
yeah, I feel you, but not as hard because I'm not outside. But we are here to talk through some exciting things tonight. We are going through our burning questions segment for the NFC South this year. We'll get to talk about the reigning champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's who won. And so we'll be talking about them and obviously the other three teams in the NFC South. But then we are also doing a Scott Fishbowl 11 mock draft. We are doing it through Sleeper. We kind of rigged the settings so that it's kind of accurate. There's not a ton that's super different about Scott Fishbowl, but we're going to talk through kind of the different scoring things that are in Scott Fishbowl. So we hope this will help you guys. We're going to be drafting from our slots. Randy is picking 6th. I am picking 12th, and I'm excited. I am so excited for this draft.
Oh, yeah.
But before we get to that, I just want to remind you guys that we have a website, thecutffb.com. A lot of great contributors over there posting article after article. Very excited for our content heading into the season and then our in-season content as well. So make sure you bookmark that. Make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you're joining us live, we are live every Monday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you're not joining us live, we are on your favorite podcast app. So make sure you subscribe. And we would very, very much so appreciate any 5-star reviews that you could drop in there. It really helps in the search bar and it helps kind of pump us up. And we would very, very much so appreciate that, especially since we have a few more podcasts coming on. We would love to have a nice base for when they get here. I think that's it. Yeah, reviews. And if you guys are joining us live, make sure you drop comments. We will be in the comments throughout the evening. We had a lot of fun with that last week. We got some questions. Would love to interact with you guys. And if you're joining us audio only, I'm sorry, you missed out. You missed out on the fun questions.
Just tweet us. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get right into it. We are going to start with the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 3 questions. How do you see the backfield shaking out in 2021? The second question, I just wrote Antonio Brown, ? And we'll talk through that and kind of the wide receiver landscape. And then, is O.J. Howard's return bad for Gronk's outlook? Randy, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe, have the best roster in all of football, top to bottom, depth-wise, starters-wise. But the backfield for fantasy is not really ideal. How do you see that kind of shaking out this year?
I think we're both in agreement that Ronald Jones is the best running back on this team, and I do think he gets the majority of the rushes, at least the attempts. Obviously, this year, Fournette obviously worked in more towards the end of the year, and the playoff run was mostly Fournette. But I do think they get back to what was best, and Jones was a little banged up near the end of the year as well. I think he's going to get probably like, we talked about this right before, I think he's probably going to get like 45% of the rushing workload, with Fournette getting 35-40, and Gio Bernard picking up the rest of the slack in a very, very similar to James White role for this offense. Because I don't think they trust Fournette or Jones in the passing game that much, and I think that shows by the aggressive signing of Gio.
Yeah, I'm actually, we know what I was for Rojo last year. I was one of the truthers. I put out my claim that he was going to be a top 20 running back, and for most of the season he was. And obviously a lot of people like to point out that was when Fournette was still learning the offense, and then he was banged up a little bit. Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette both had issues catching passes last year, and we knew that was going to be an issue with Ronald Jones, but because Leonard Fournette had kind of been okay at catching dump-offs from Jaguars quarterbacks over the years, it was kind of shocking to see him struggle as much as he did, to the point that they felt the need to add a back like Gio Bernard. What I think this means is Keyshawn Vaughn is just,
Arians has already said that majority of his snaps this year is going to be on special teams, so he's not getting cut. I think they're giving a 1-year run of like the Gio and Fournette and Rojo, even because I believe it's his last year. They're going to figure it out, and hopefully Vaughn, in their eyes, progresses enough to be usable in not a feature role, but a part of a committee.
Yeah. And so my point about Ronald Jones is that, I thought that that's what he would be last year. I stuck to it. I dropped him down a little bit once they signed Fournette. However, I don't have him that high this year. I have him, I believe, as a flex play. I think Fournette is going to be kind of every once in a while you might get a flex play out of him. I just don't see that any of these guys really have a ton of fantasy football relevance. Now, of course, Ronald Jones does, and I don't have his ADP pulled up right here, but definitely don't expect what you got for most of last year. Just Gio Bernard is a fairly good running back, and that's the reason that Joe Mixon was hampered all the time, and so now it's just so crowded that it's not fun anymore.
It's surprise. Brady somehow brought a Patriots backfield with him to Tampa. Where you want one of them some weeks and then none of them most weeks. My biggest fear for Rojo for the future is just Fournette kind of getting the vulture role along with Brady rushing in sneaks. It scares me for Rojo, and he probably isn't on the team next year, so dynasty wise it's hard to trust him as well.
Yeah, we had that conversation about Michael Carter versus Rojo, and I'm sure we'll debate that a little more in the future, but we don't have time right now. So, second question on this list, I just wrote Antonio Brown, but the real question is, really, can Godwin, Evans, and Antonio Brown be fantasy relevant in 2021? We did see a lot of that last year. However, Godwin was banged up at times. Mike Evans also was banged up,
And Brown didn't learn the offense until the end of the season, really. So
exactly. So how do you see that kind of playing out this year?
So this is kind of going to lead into the next question. I think all three do thrive most of the time, not together. And I think the tight ends kind of get washed out. I doubt it. Tyler Johnson is still not as good as Antonio Brown.
I'm with you. I think Tyler Johnson's very good. We both
that
do.
Doesn't. That's not a slight. Antonio Brown's been one of the best receivers the last 2 decades, and Evans and Godwin are incredible.
Yeah, it's so tough because I've seen some Jalen Darden love on the timeline recently too, and that's not going to happen. I don't think it can happen. I know he has been compared to Antonio Brown, and maybe next year, but that's not a 2021 thing.
Honestly, I think Tyler Johnson's biggest concern is Scotty Miller. We know Brady likes his white receivers. Let's get it.
He sure does.
I do think all three can thrive. I think Evans can thrive with one of these guys in a week, but Godwin and Brown, I don't think can both thrive in the same week. Just because I think they work about the same parts of the field. Obviously, they'll be on opposite sides. Evans does his own thing. He's going to get his 1,000 yards. That's Mike Evans. He's so good at that,
and probably 10 touchdowns at least. And Mike Evans is is a safe bet this year. I'm kind of with you. I think Antonio Brown probably has some wide receiver 1 weeks. I think we could see boom weeks out of everyone. This offense is absurd. But then the third question here. OJ Howard will be back. He was productive in a couple games, got hurt, out for the year. Everyone's loving Gronk this year. Gronk was ultra productive. He looked like his old self. But OJ Howard will be back. Is that bad for Rob Gronkowski?
I don't. Yes and no. It's one of the teams where we've gone through a couple of these divisions and we said, okay, well, most of these teams are on 12 personnel. They have 2 tight ends they like. Tampa Bay has 3 tight ends they like, and I don't think they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel because they have 4 or 5 receivers they like and 3 running backs they like. So I think we're going to have a full rotation with Gronk kind of being that go-to guy at times. So maybe in like Scott Fishbowl for first down points, he's better off as your second tight end or something. And I just don't – I think Howard can be that ultra-athletic tight end that has thrived under Brady in the past. I just don't know if there's enough volume for him to do anything.
Yeah, this is a good point. I mean, Gronk is still going to get his touchdowns, and that's important for the tight end position, especially because the tight end landscape, as we know, every year, what you're shooting for pretty much for a tight end 1 is 500 yards and like 6 touchdowns. Gronk's probably going to get that.
First and goal, they're going to be in 12 personnel with at least 12 personnel, maybe 3 tight ends.
Yeah,
Brady and Fournette, in my opinion. So I think all of them have a chance to get the touchdowns, and that's why I'm saying I don't know if any of them will be ultra relevant, like as a top 10 tight end, but maybe Gronk's continued usage as a favorite target of Brady's can keep him near the tight end 1 discussion and have tight end 1 weeks, obviously.
Yeah, man, this offense is one that I want every piece of, and I want no pieces of. It's very strange.
I just want to watch it.
Yeah, honestly, it's going to be fun to watch. All right, let's get into our next team in the Atlanta Falcons. The 3 questions: is Calvin Ridley a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football? Can Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst coexist? And then is Mike Davis a true workhorse in the offense? Now, I know, Randy, your reaction to that. The reason I framed it that way, now I know your question was, is he the wide receiver 1, right?
No, it was, can he, is that a realistic expectation now that Julio's gone and we have Pitts
we can answer it that way too.
You know what I mean? That's why I wanted to frame it like that because, he's tight end. He was wide receiver 1 a lot of weeks last season. I'm not quite sure where he finished. If he didn't finish as wide receiver 1, it was very, very close. That's what I thought he did. That's what I think he has to be because he got all the targets with Julio. Now he's gone. I'm just saying, with that exactly. With the sheer volume, we could get a kind of mixture of Keenan Allen with the ridiculous target share as well as the explosive deep threat that Calvin Ridley is. That's kind of what Julio was early in his career too, and most of his career I'm sure he still will be with the Titans, where he got it done with the PPR, but he also just exploded deep. I think Julio was always in contention for the wide receiver 1, and when it was just his team with Roddy White and the aging veteran, I think Calvin Ridley's going to take that role. I don't think he's ever going to be as good as Julio, just as a total receiver, but I think he has every chance to be the wide receiver 1 this year, especially with concerns with other places.
Calvin Ridley's the one example of why the term alpha receiver is kind of strange, because if you look at Calvin Ridley, that's not an alpha. That is not an alpha receiver. But then you watch him run his routes and you watch all the separation he creates. He reminds me, I guess my point here is that Stephon Diggs is the alpha of his team. He's the wide receiver 1 of his team. And they have similar games. They just create separation. They can dominate deep and they can dominate short to intermediate. I think Ridley does fit that mold. I think he's very good. I think he is very good.
I would say he is. I'd say he has as good a chance as any to be the wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Now he has to adjust to full-time top coverage. He has to adjust to maybe a worsening Matt Ryan and a completely different offense. So maybe we're slightly off. Maybe they don't throw as much, but I think that leads into the Mike Davis 3-down workhorse. I don't know if they have the running backs to be this tight end's offense. Like, they don't have the grinded out Derrick Henry guy, and Derrick Henry pretty much did it by himself with somewhat help, not really any. I think Mike Davis could be very good and a good value for this year because he can get it done in every phase of the game. He's not a great pass blocker, but it's not really what he's ever asked to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's just jump to question 3 and then come back for 2. Is Mike Davis a true workhorse in the offense? My answer to that is no. I don't think he is, because while Mike Davis was very good and he thrived in a workhorse type of role, Daniel 77, Mike Davis, sneaky RB1, I thought that's how I would see it as well. I really did. And then I statted it out and I was like, man, they can't give him 250 carries. And in this offense, that's what we know. Like, all we know is this offense with Derrick Henry. Mike Davis is not Derrick Henry. And so I think there's going to be more of a split than people want to admit. Personally, I think Mike Davis is definitely, like, he's going to have RB1 weeks. He might finish as an RB2. I don't actually have it that way. I have him as a flex as well, because I think they still pass more than the Titans did.
Yeah,
I think they passed less than they.
They're not as good as the Titans. They're going to have to pass. That's
exactly
the difference. I think I might end up in our projections group may have the most carries for him by the end of this, and I have him at like 220.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting 250 touches easy, but I think 220 carries is safe. I don't really know for sure who's going to break out beside him as that change pace back with him, or powerhouse back, I guess would be a better case, even though he's kind of a load. But three down workhorse in a sense, but kind of like he's a great RB3 for your team, and that's where he's going right now. So I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, I think that works. And then the other part of this new scheme is that they are going to be running a ton of 12 personnel. 12 personnel is going to look a little different, though, when you have a weapon such as Kyle Pitts on the field. So my question, can Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst coexist? But what I really mean is, does Hayden Hurst have any chance to still finish as a tight end 1? He did so in 2020, and he's still technically, I think, a starting tight end for this team. What do you think?
I think he's a starting tight end still, yeah. And I think Pitts, while they will be in 12 personnel a good amount, he will also be using the slot because that's what he should be. I don't think Hurst can be a tight end 1, but I think he could put up a tight end 1 weeks because they are going to throw a ton. He may – honestly, I think right now it's be close, especially with Pitts not having any reps yet in the NFL. I think Hurst may be the go-to red zone guy, especially because he already has played with Matt Ryan, so especially early in the year. So maybe Hurst is better early in the year, but I still think he's worth a pick as like if you have like a risky tight end, especially in like a best ball format, and you just want to get another tight end to kind of help you out.
Yeah. Really quickly, we'll backtrack here for a second. Daniel 77 asked, who is Mike Davis's competition? I would argue that they really like Quadri Allison. It's the only running back they brought back from last year. I think Javian Hawkins has a decent shot to make the team at least, and I think he could.
I think he's the RB3 already. I don't even think it's a question if he makes the team. And one of those two is going to get a good amount of carries. I have it split between the two because until we get through training camp and stuff, I can't tell right now.
Yeah, and then bringing it back around, 2 tight ends can coexist in the offense, especially when Pitts goes to big slot. I don't even think it's always going to be a big slot. I think he's going to line up at X. I think he's going to line up as a slot, and I think he'll be in line quite a bit. Granted, he'll always be a tight end running a route out of in line, I think. I think Hurst is probably going to block a little bit more. But he's not a great blocker either. So that's why, like, I think they can coexist. I think Hayden Hurst is going to have a couple tight end 1 weeks. I was talking about that in a projections group. Shout out to those guys that I am talking with in there. But I think Hurst has the ability to finish within the top 15 tight ends, even in this offense. Now, I know a lot of people are getting excited about Russell Gage. You should be. I mean, he saw a ton of targets last year with Julio out, but he's going to be lining up probably on the outside, and I think he comes off the field sometimes. I think there's a chance that Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts are the two main wide receivers on the field, which sounds crazy, but it could really happen. Very Darren Waller-esque. 6 touchdowns for both, maybe. I think it's possible.
I think it's possible, but it's not what I'm expecting.
Yeah, me neither. All right. Let's move on to the Carolina Panthers. The 3 questions. Will Sam Darnold get things figured out in 2021 in the new scheme on a new team, finally out of New York? Do you expect a lighter load for Christian McCaffrey? And then are Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore top 24 guys as they were last year? Randy, I know we both still believe in Darnold to an extent. Do you think that he's going to actually be productive and lead this team to a few wins this year?
Yeah, I do. I'm not sure he's like completion wise and like possibly supporting 3 receivers like Bridgewater did. I think that might be a step down, but Bridgewater doesn't take the shots that you need to continually win games. He's too safe, and that's great for like Scott Fishbowl if he's a starter, but that's not what we're asking for Darnold in real football. I think he's probably throwing over 4,000 yards this year. Touchdown interception ratio is probably going to be still not that great, but I do think he can lead them to a good amount of wins. They're probably not a playoff team this year, but I think they have that next step forward.
Man, I think they're kind of close. I know a lot of people don't like the Panthers roster. I do. I think the Panthers have a good football team. I think they've got multiple weapons. I think they have a group of tight ends that they think can do what they need them to do. And, Ian Thomas is still there. Dan Arnold and Tommy Tremble are new guys in the room. And so having Christian McCaffrey as a safety net instead of, a washed up, shitty Le'Veon Bell like Sam Darnold had in New York, I think that's going to do wonders, because I think even if Sam Darnold fails the way he did fail in New York, I think it's tough to fail when you can dump off to a guy that can make so many people miss. And that kind of leads into the next question. Do you expect a lighter load for Christian McCaffrey this year? Do you expect them to kind of work Chuba Hubbard in? What are you looking at there?
I expect them to try and work Chuba in and Rodney Smith a decent amount. I don't think Christian's going to have this overwhelming majority anymore. I think between the other two, they're going to get about 100 carries or so. Probably not that, maybe like 25 targets. I think McCaffrey dominates that clearly still. But I could see Chuba really taking off as that change of pace back to help out, make sure, especially early, make sure McCaffrey doesn't get banged up, especially with the next game coming into this year. I think a lot of teams are going to look to have another running back take a decent amount of shares from the other running backs. At least, say Chuba gets like 70 carries. That's nothing ridiculous, but that's pretty good for a rookie change of pace back. That's not that many touches per game, but it doesn't matter. Anything would help. We're going from like an entirely 100% or 95% target share as a running back for McCaffrey when he was the clear RB1, and he probably still is, to now probably like 88, 85, maybe 90. That's still really, really good.
Yeah. Is Chuba a nice handcuff? See, I don't know personally.
I think he is, but he's not CMC. That's like, if he actually got hurt and Chuba took over somehow completely, they didn't bring anyone else in. They didn't bring in Lev Bell or some decrepit old back like teams usually will.
Yeah.
then like Chuba isn't going to get 10 targets a game with 15 rushes. Like he's going to get most of it, but he's not going to get all of it. So,
Yeah.
and he's not going to be as efficient as McCaffrey. So, I mean, he is the handcuff for me there, but I don't think he ranks like a top 5 handcuff.
Yeah. My main thing with Chuba is that Rodney Smith is still there, and he was actually pretty good when he worked in behind Mike Davis last year. And so I think the two of them will combine to give McCaffrey a little less share. I don't think Christian McCaffrey gets to 300 carries like he did in his crazy year. I'm just under that. I think obviously he pushes 350 touches. I have him close to 400 touches in my projection. So I still think Christian McCaffrey is the RB1. We saw him dominate in his couple of games that he played last year. I think that's still there. And I think it's even more so there because I think they want to rely on him a little more than they did when they had Teddy Bridgewater. So it kind of ties back into that.
I have him just exactly reaching 300, and it's literally because I'm healthy for 17 games.
Yeah, me too. But I do see that cutback. In terms of carries, I have him with 64% of all carries, which is low compared to what it was. Now, of course,
I would say I'm at least 70, 72%, which is probably what it should be.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
like
agree.
you said, you might be a little low, but
yeah. I think they are going to take it cautious at least early season. But then third question, are Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore both top 24 receivers in 2021?
I think full send DJ Moore. I think it fits what Darnold's thrived with in the past with Jamison Crowder. I think that's – and he loved to throw it deep to Robbie Anderson. And Moore, for some reason, got more of those targets last year with Bridgewater than Anderson did. I think both are going to have really, really good seasons. I would trust DJ Moore just a little bit more. I hate doing that. Just two mores there. I hate doing that. Just because of the PPR upside of more targets. But Anderson is going to continue to have those explosive plays. It's just his game.
You know, yes, I'm with you. DJ Moore, safer. I think he's a top 20 receiver. I think they do take a bit of a step back with Darnold than they did early on. Terrace Marshall. You should go to my Twitter at CWilliamsNFL. I tweeted about Terrace Marshall today. I think we need to temper Terrace Marshall expectations personally. I think
Terrace Marshall is a great dynasty rookie pick.
I agree.
I think he gets worked in ultra slowly this year.
Yeah. I think people expect him to take that starting slot role from Curtis Samuel, and I've been hearing a little buzz that that's going to be the Robbie Anderson role now. And then David Moore, Terrace Marshall, Shi Smith even, I think, could make the team a work in. Omar Bayless is still there. I love that guy. R.I.P.
And like we've gone over, Mike Davis is not, can't be CMC in the passing game as well as the rushing game. So there's less targets to go to receivers this year.
Yes, and that's a main point as well. Christian McCaffrey's taken more of that target share. I do not have Robbie Anderson as a top 24 player. I think he's a flex player most weeks, and that's someone who believed in Robbie for a very long time. I have a lot of shares too.
I can't officially say that yet. I do have him eclipsing 200 PPR points though.
Okay, yeah,
that's with 5 touchdowns. So
yeah, that might do it. All right, that's enough of the Carolina Panthers. Let's move on to the New Orleans Saints. The 3 questions. Is Michael Thomas going to bounce back and have a top 5 year in 2021? Heavy on the top 5. We'll talk through that. Are you worried about Alvin Kamara now that Drew Brees is gone? And then is Adam Troutman the tight end to roster in New Orleans? Is he the real deal? There's a lot of hype about him. We'll talk through that. Question number 1, is Michael Thomas going to bounce back in 2021? Randy, go.
Yes. I think he's going to – I'm not going to guarantee the top 5. Obviously, I haven't finished their rankings yet. So in about a week and a half, I'll be able to officially say what I think there. But there's nothing else in the offense. I think he's going to get absolutely peppered with targets. The only problem could be touchdowns. Maybe just hindering him to where he's like 8 instead of 5, or he's 10 instead of 6, where he would have been with 1 more touchdown or 2 more touchdowns kind of thing. Jameis throws the fucking ball. He is going to sling it. Kamara is going to be the absolute focal point of this offense with Michael Thomas. So I love both of them this year. I understand the concerns for Kamara, but we'll capitalize on that in a second. But Thomas, I think, with just an enormous target share, a la what he's had, and a la what like Hopkins had with terrible quarterback play, or the first years of Deshaun, where it was just all of the targets. That's like it's just everything. That's what it's going to be.
No, that's a good point. I have Michael Thomas as my wide receiver 10 in 2021 projections so far. I think everything you're saying is right. And, I'm kind of looking at it. I don't know how I had Jameis Winston finish so low. I think it's because he's still going to turn the ball over. And,
yes, he is. And
so that's going to kind of hamper his fantasy ceiling. But, yes, Michael Thomas is going to get peppered.
My thing is if we're at week 8 and Winston's 14 touchdowns, 14 picks, he's probably losing the job.
It's very true.
You know what I mean? So I just don't think he's going to be that atrocious. And I would hope a little bit better coaching can get him to be a little bit more calmed down. And he's going to throw a dick ton of slants. So it's not that hard.
It's true. Yeah, he actually, I saw a beat reporter say he struggled with slant routes in 2019. So Michael Thomas is toast. Guess what, guys? Michael Thomas can run other routes. He just didn't because he had Drew Brees.
It was the truth. Yeah. Because that whole system was Brees can't run. Let's get the ball in 2 seconds.
Yes, and let Michael Thomas do the work. So, yes, I agree. Michael Thomas is full send. Second question, are you worried about Alvin Kamara? You kind of alluded to it, so I'll just talk really quickly. No. I have him as my RB3 this year. I think Alvin Kamara is quarterback proof. We saw it with Taysom Hill. I know Jameis doesn't target running backs, and that's fine.
He did.
Exactly. Jameis is going to run the Saints scheme. Obviously, a little more opened up because he has an arm, and Drew Brees did not. But Alvin Kamara, you shouldn't fade him, guys. I don't really get that.
We're trying to compare Alvin Kamara to what? Second-year Rojo who barely got in the field? Like, what are we? Or LaShawn McCoy on his last leg? Like, that's not a comparison. That's a laughing stock.
Yeah, it was not good. And Peyton Barber was there too. Yeah, so I mean,
we don't count Peyton Barber.
He got a lot of work that last year, but
I know he did.
It's crazy. No, I am eating up all of the Alvin Kamara and all of my drafts because you guys are all fading him. Please don't fade him.
For me, it's the same thing as Michael Thomas. I think it's a lock for top 10 and a really, really good shot at top 5. And once you're in the top 5. Running back and wide receiver are positions where maybe one guy will run away with the top spot, but once you're in the top 5, you should have every shot to be the one.
Yeah. All right. And then our third question is Adam Troutman, the tight end of roster in New Orleans. Is he the real deal? Really quickly, Jim Nagy did tweet about him being a breakout second-year player. He's biased. He ran the Senior Bowl, and Adam Troutman was there. But he did tweet about that today. Randy, what do you think of Adam Troutman?
I love Jim, but Jim Nagy is the realest G out there, bro. I don't care if the guy isn't good. I'm not saying that's Troutman, but I don't care if he's not good. If he stepped foot at the Senior Bowl, played, or just talked to people, Jim Nagy will fight till he dies for that player. And that is the best thing I've ever seen. Troutman is good. He did get increased usage throughout the end of the year. I know we are ultra excited for most people about increased touches throughout the end of the year, unless your name is David Montgomery, apparently. Yeah. But Troutman, I do think, is going to be the clear one in this offense. We saw Jameis favor a lot of tight ends in shorter situations, and I do think that goes more towards Kamara, but I think Troutman can have a really good year, and probably, I don't even know if he's the best red zone target because Kamara's ultra efficient down there. Thomas can get open in half a second. I just don't know if he's. I think he's going to be efficient. He's going to be an easy top 20 tight end. I think he's probably going to have one or two tight end weeks, which means he probably is going to be about tight end 11 to 15.
I'm not as high on him.
I haven't got to the Saints yet, but just again with the lack of talent in the receiving core.
Here's where I'll push back just a touch. I think Traquan Smith is the guy. I think Traquan Smith is the Adam Troutman.
We've thought that for 3 years, man.
I know, but I think Traquan Smith requires a quarterback that can throw the football. And, Michael Thomas doesn't, right? So Michael Thomas was able to work. And Jameis, give him all the shit that we did, like we just did, but he could throw the football. And he's been working already with Jameis. I think they're going to have a little bit of a connection, whereas, I think Troutman's still going to take one more year. I think he'll have productive weeks, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as lucrative as people think and how he's being drafted, at least.
Yeah, but isn't he going tight end 20?
I don't even have him there, and that's why
But that's what I'm saying. At that point, take the upshot as the only guy there. Why?
It's true.
You can cut him after week 3 if he sucks. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't draft him based on my projections, because I think of the guys, I would take a shot on a.
I mean, would you rather have Hayden Hurst or Troutman?
Hurst.
See,
I know you would probably go Troutman.
But see, here's my thing. I would take Troutman, and then week 3, if it's not working out, or week 2, I would pick up Hurst because he's getting dropped.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Sorry, I just lost my voice because I was so sad because I suck at fantasy football. No, that's a good point. So, yeah, Adam Troutman, I'm low on him. Randy likes him.
Of course.
So that'll do it for our burning questions for the NFC South. If you guys have more questions for these teams, just send them in. You can tweet at us. Our DMs are open and all that jazz. Or just if you know us, text us. Before we get into our Scott Fishbowl mock draft, we are going to hear a word from a couple of our sponsors. Check out King Fantasy Sports' draft kit and get the advantage over your league mates this draft season. Do the right preparation and start your season off right. You'll get rankings, breakouts, busts, values, and sleepers. Have some funky settings, learn how to make your own projections. Stop sitting on the sidelines and buy it now. Use our promo code THECUT to get an additional 10% off. We're talking $10 to get everything you need in your arsenal to not just compete, but dominate. Check out the link in the description of this podcast episode.
Experience a new way to play daily fantasy sports and esports on Thrive Fantasy. Thrive's game concept revolves around player props, which are simple over-unders on player stats. There are contests for traditional sports including the NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and cricket, as well as esports titles including CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, and more coming soon. Here's how to play. Choose your lineup of over-unders for top-tier athletes that have the biggest impact on the game. Each prop has a fantasy point total based on how likely it is to hit. The more points the selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points and win a share of the prize pool. Thrive is awarded over $2 million in cash, so come and prop up today.
Use promo code THECUT to get matching deposits up to $50 with a minimum deposit of $20. Thank you to Thrive Fantasy.
Bro, that's so much easier. Oh my god.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I like that a lot.
Instead of us just rambling.
Yeah. Instead of throwing in the normal banter that I stumble over those ad reads, so I figured I'll make it easier on myself. All right, guys. We are here to do a Scott Fishbowl mock. This is not your typical mock. We did a Dynasty Startup mock draft last week. This one is in preparation for Scott Fishbowl next week. Now, we'd love to a week from today. The reason we're doing it today is because we won't have another show before that. So just getting you some early prep Unfortunately, if you're in the best ball satellite league, we're not going to draft like best ball. But I do want to remind you guys, you are still in Scott Fishbowl. You are not just in the best ball league. You are in Scott Fishbowl. We were in that last year, and it was a ton of fun. We had just as much fun, and it was always for the same reason, which is to raise awareness and to donate to charity. And that's what Scott Fishbowl is about. And that's why Scott Fish is one of the best dudes out here in the fantasy community. So shout out to Scott. Thank you to him and Ryan McDowell for just continually putting this on. Obviously the 11th year. We can't wait to continue being in this, but all right, Randy, talk through some of the differences in what Scott Fishbowl scoring is and how we're kind of going to account for that.
Okay. Well, quickly, there's a bunch of divisions, 12 teams in each divisions. It's music themed this year. I actually, because I just didn't feel like it, honestly, scrolling through all the names, I didn't select any band or artists. So I just got a random one. I got Led Zeppelin. I'm fine with that. I love 80s and 90s rock music anyways. So I love that. And I got the 6th spot randomly, which with a 3rd round reversal, which is different, and I'll get to all the rules here quickly. I am not mad about the 3rd round reversal. You are in the Drake League, I believe, which I don't know how the hell you got in there. But you have the 12th spot, which is where you always draft anyways. So this is right up your alley. Quickly, though, different rules for this. Scott Fishbowl is always some jank, little twist to the rules, and it always works slightly different, but the drafts end up kind of the same. And I will say this mock is not going to look like how every league is going to draft in that every division. It's going to be complete chaos all the time. So I'm excited for mine, and I'm sure you are as well. But quickly, quarterbacks, you get a -1 point for sack, -4 points for interception, -2 points for that interception being a pick 6. It's a 6-point passing touchdown league. 0.4 points per passing yards, that's normal. 2 points for 2-point conversion, that's for every position, that's normal. -1 for incompletion and 0.5 points per completion is different. Quarterback scoring is fucked, but it's fun. So it prioritizes maybe just like pure running quarterbacks might be up a little bit higher, but they have to also be accurate. And that rushing floor can only prop you up so much. If you go 10 for 27 with a pick, that's negative. You're going to be a negative that week. And that does happen. I'm pretty sure Carson Wentz had like a negative 20-point week last year. That shit can happen again this year. So that's quarterbacks really difficult there. It is 0.5 point per reception for wide receivers and running backs. And every position gets a 0.5 point per first down gained for the team. And then tight end is actually full PPR and full point per first down. So it is full tight end premium. Some of the most you're going to see. It's insane. Obviously, that's why the top 3 are going to go early. And then the next big thing, there might be relevancy at the kicker position. Again, folks, I never thought I'd see the day, but the smart genius Scott Fish is implementing decimal field goal scoring. So that means like a 35-yard field goal is 3.5 points. And those weeks that kickers have 5 kicks of 30 to 40 yards or so, they're scoring 20-plus points, and they may outscore everyone on your team. So if that, I believe that scoring also goes with the best ball, the satellite best ball divisions, and that means you're going to want at least 1 or 2 kickers on your roster if that's the case. But it's also 1 point per extra point, 1 point or -1 for mixed extra point, -3 for missed field goal. So it is. He always does we'll raise up the position and die. Like he always tries to cut it off with the legs as well. The quarterback and kicker are insane. Then tight ends with an enormous bump.
Yeah. So and then the other thing. So obviously, Sleeper doesn't have the ability to fix all of those settings, right? So
not for a mock. You could make the league, but it'd be
right. So when we're going through this, kickers will probably go earlier than in your actual draft, in your Scott Fish draft. than they will in this mock draft. So
Yes.
that's one thing to keep in mind. Randy, did you bake in the third round reversal?
I talked about it. It is in here, I believe. I believe that's in the settings.
It looks like it because I have 2-1 and 3-1.
Yes,
So.
is third round reversal is in here.
Yeah.
It's 22 rounds. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, ultra flex for 3 positions. Where it's it's also wide receiver, running back, tight end, or kicker, and then super flex is your other flex position, and then 11 bench spots. So
yeah,
it's insane.
It's crazy. So what I'm hearing is we need to get started. So Randy, why don't you
I did
kick
it.
off this draft? McCaffrey 1.
Oh.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is ultra valued.
Yeah, he is. So the first 5 off the board before Randy's pick: Christian McCaffrey, Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Patrick Mahomes, Dalvin Cook. Randy's on the clock at pick 6. Again, guys, this is helping us. So this is fun because I haven't done too many Scott Fish mocks. Randy, who you choosing?
So I think it would be between Kyler Murray, Derrick Henry, Kamara, and the guy I am going to pick, the guy that probably won't get to me in Scott Fish Bowl. And that's Travis Kelce. I'm trying to get the best tight end.
Yep.
All right, well, going back to you, Kyler Murray, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, and Dak Prescott all off the board. You're up with back-to-back picks.
Oh, boy. It's really hard to not select Lamar here.
Yes.
And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take Lamar with my first pick, if my computer loads, and then I'm going to take Darren Waller at the 2-1.
Okay.
The reason is Darren Waller is ultra valuable. I believe he was 14th overall last year, and so the discrepancy at the position gives me an advantage at the tight end position here. Following me, Nick Chubb, Tyreek Hill, Justin Herbert, Cam Akers, Ezekiel Elliott. Randy, are you taking George Kittle here?
I am. I'm doing it, bro. It's a
really?
mock. It's a mock. I want to do something different.
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
now have 2 of the 3 best tight ends. I can play both every single week, and I fucking will. I fucking will. After me, Hopkins, Eckler, Adams, Aaron Jones, Stephon Diggs, then third round reversal to you. You cheeky bitch.
Am I going 0 running back?
No.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I'm taking DeAndre Swift here. I thought I was for a second. I thought I was. So then I took DeAndre Swift. My team right now: Lamar Jackson, Darren Waller, DeAndre Swift. After me, before Randy's next pick, Najee Harris, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Antonio Gibson, Justin Jefferson. Randy, you got to get a quarterback here soon, bud.
I do, and I'm taking Russell Wilson. He was our satellite quarterback along with Ryan Tannehill last year, an absolute lethal combination. And it worked out great for us. But the running backs I wanted definitely kind of went off the board there. But I had to get a quarterback.
Yep. So the players that came off: Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Calvin Ridley, Jalen Hurts, J.K. Dobbins, Joe Mixon, Allen Robinson, Kyle Pitts at the 402. Which is about where he's going in every mock I've seen. So if you want Kyle Pitts, you have to take him in the 3rd. David Montgomery, Miles Sanders, Aaron Rodgers, then back to you, Randy.
Yeah, about that. I have to go Josh Jacobs. I need to get a running back. I do still believe in Josh Jacobs fully. Maybe there's a little bit of bias there, but I think he has always been somewhat banged up. They always want to use extra backs. I think they want to just have Drake as a change of pace and passing back. And that's kind of where I'm at. Michael Thomas after me, then Burrow, Carson, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, and you back-to-back picks again.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Ryan Tannehill and get my second quarterback spot locked in. The other guys on the board, Tom Brady was definitely considered. I'm definitely going to be searching for some Justin Fields here later. At this point, though, my running back situation is looking pretty bleak. There are a ton of wide receivers. I don't have a single wide receiver. Fuck. Oh no. Man, I have to take a wide receiver. Okay. Of these wide receivers, I think who I want is Terry McLaurin. I'm going to take Terry McLaurin. I think they're you can take your pick there. Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb was on the board, Chris Godwin was on the board, DJ Moore, Julio Jones. Some of those guys are off the board now. Kareem Hunt after me, Trevor Lawrence, Mark Andrews, Chris Godwin, TJ Hawkinson, and then you are up. Never mind. You took Tom.
I took Tom Brady. I'm trying to dominate other positions.
Yes.
Travis Etienne, DJ Moore, Adam Thielen, Robert Woods, Stafford, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Julio Jones, fuck. Amari Cooper, fuck. Keenan Allen off the board.
Oh my God.
I'm up, and I have to take upside at the running back position, Myles Gaskin.
That's good. That's not who. Okay, good. Okay, so after you, Cooper Kupp, Noah Fant, James Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, Tyler Lockett, and I am going to go ahead and take Javonte Williams, who I think will be an RB2 this year. And so having him as my RB2, I'm a little young there at running back. This isn't Dynasty, remember, so that's a little worrisome. But I do believe in Swift as a top 10 guy this year, and I believe in Javonte. From here, there are a few ways I could go. I think all the tight ends that I would want are now off the board. Third quarterback would be kind of fun, but I'm not going to do it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double up at running back, and I'm going to take a little bit of a shot here on an upside guy as well in Chase Edmonds. I know a lot of people are talking about James Conner coming in there and taking a lot of that work. I don't see it happening. I think Chase Edmonds is better at this point. And so, Randy, you are up after Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Raheem Mostert, Mike Davis, T. Higgins. You're up.
Yes, I am. Yeah. The dominating other positions has me definitely worried here.
Yep.
I'm going to get my first receiver. And that's going to be Odell. I obviously believe in Odell this year. I need at least one receiver before I do some stupid stuff later.
It's true. Yeah. So then after you, DJ Chark, Logan Thomas, Melvin Gordon, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Ronald Jones, Juju Smith-Schuster, Leonard Fournette, Mike Gesicki. You are back on the clock.
Yes, I am. And man, I just want to make your life miserable.
Okay.
But I won't do it because I'm scared. So I'm going to go Trey Sermon. I have to get upside at running back position. I just got to take upside shots here. That's really all I can do.
Yep. And then your pick was followed by Will Fuller, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, Dallas Goedert, David Johnson.
Take him. Come on. If he gets back to me, I'm taking him.
I know you are. Yeah, I'm gonna take Justin Fields. I think he has top 12 potential when he plays, and so he'd be in my lineup most weeks, even over my two quarterbacks of Lamar Jackson, Ryan Tannehill. There is a chance that happens, and then another guy that I think is going to have a fairly good 2021 that everyone is kind of sleeping on is Brandon Cooks. I'm targeting Brandon Cooks everywhere I go. I believe that Deshaun Watson plays, and that's a conversation for another day probably, but he just came off the board, so maybe we can have it now. Bobby Tunyon, Robbie Anderson, Matt Ryan, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield off the board. Randy, you are up again.
Well, my strategy is not changing. Upside at running back. Damian Harris.
Smart. Yeah. I'm actually shocked you didn't go Michael Carter there. This is terrifying. Okay, so after you, Carson Wentz, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, James Conner, Tyler Boyd, Michael Carter, Curtis Samuel, Laviska Shenault. You took Derek Carr.
Yes,
because
I wanted to lock in the third quarterback after that run. I know I'm late on the run, but you just got screwed by the run. So,
yeah.
But you have
I have three. I'm fine. Man, this is I'm not loving this. I will. Oh yeah, I am. Let's go. Mike Williams. I'm selecting Mike Williams in the 10th round. This is a guy I tweeted about the other day. I have him inside my top 24 this year. I think for Scott Fishbowl, I think he's going to eat because I think he's going to get a lot of first downs this year. And then I'm going to spin around and I am going to get a second tight end because I see that everyone else is. Well, wait. I guess just you. Actually, no one has a second tight end.
It's because they're not as smart as me.
It's true. So what I might do here is double up receiver. No, I'm not going to do that. I am going to go ahead and take Nyheim Hines because I still think he's good. Shout out to Jeff.
It is half-point PPR, so he does lose some value.
He does.
Point that out.
But crazy enough, that dude ran for a lot of first downs last year. Not a huge percentage of his team's first downs, but probably more than Jonathan Taylor managers would have liked.
Yes, very true. So I think it's pretty clear that I'm full punting the wide receiver position and taking huge upside later. So I think I'm going to be out of options at running back for what my team build is after this pick. And I am going to listen to respectable people in the industry, people I think that are wrong, and you do as well. I'm taking Zach Moss. I'm very willing to cut him after 2 weeks. Oh my God. But I have to take the shot.
All right, so the run before your pick, Michael Pittman, A.J. Dillon, Jarvis Landry, Antonio Brown, Gus Edwards, then you took Moss. And then following that up, I am regretting not taking my second tight end because Rob Gronkowski, then Corey Davis, Hunter Henry, Tyler Higbee, Devontae Parker, Evan drops Engram, Michael drops Gallup. That's funny. Cole Kmet, Johnny Smith, Elijah Moore. Randy, you are back on the clock.
Yes, I am. I'm taking Mooney. Darnell Mooney. I think there's upside potential, just like Mike Williams, to really break out this year, especially if Justin Fields is the quarterback. I was decided between him and Bateman, who went right after. So then Bateman, Jones, Singletary, Pollard, Russell Gage. You're on the clock for 2 picks. Who's going to the losing team now? Our goal is to both make the playoffs. I just want to point out.
Yeah.
And then I'll beat him. But
yeah. Yes, that's very true. I'm going to wait on my second tight end because I'm seeing Adam Troutman here. I don't love it. In terms of some of the running backs on the board, Jamal Williams, Darrell Henderson, I think are solid plays here because there's really nothing left. And so if I want a running back here, which I do, I'm going to have to take probably Jamal. I'm going to take Jamal. So then I have both Lions running backs. I kind of handcuff myself, but I also think that Jamal is going to be a flex play each week, especially if he's the A-back, as they love to put it in Detroit. Then I'm going to follow that up. At this point, I don't love my wide receivers. I really don't. And so I'm kind of debating between Cole Beasley and Rondale Moore, both guys that are going to, I believe, catch a lot of first downs. They're going to catch quite a few passes. Cole Beasley is a guy I have averaging about 14 fantasy points per game in standard PPR. Rondale Moore is at about 12. So with the risk of Cole Beasley retiring, I'm going to take Cole Beasley because he's not going to fucking retire. It's not going to happen. He's going to play this year. And so, yeah, Adam Troutman, Latavius Murray, Nelson Aguilar, Rondale Moore, J.D. McKissick. Randy, you are back up on the clock.
Very good. I'm going to take a shot at the possible upside of an explosive wide receiver 1 for the Raiders in Henry Ruggs. Here again, this could just not be his role. It's very possible, but when you build a team like I decided to do in this mock, because you got to try some things, you have to take upsides at the other positions that you didn't try and dominate, and wide receiver is not one of those positions. So.
Yeah. Before you make your next selection, T.Y. Hilton, Kenneth Gainwell, Darrell Henderson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Cook, Phillip Lindsay, Alexander Madison, McCole Hardman, Chuba Hubbard, Tariq Cohen, you're back up.
All right. I don't think he's going to get back to me. I think this could be PPR upside with first down potential. I'm going to go with the upside of Paris Campbell. Again, I didn't think he'd get back to me because of you. It's honestly 14th round for Paris. I think that's pretty good value. I said, I was pretty much done with running backs. So I'm just taking shot after shot at wide receiver, hoping to hit.
Yeah. After you, Todd Gurley, Jalen Reagor, Zach Ertz, Austin Hooper, Gabe Davis. Man, I'm going to do something a little crazy here, and I'm going to take some Blake Jarwin. I think Blake Jarwin is going to step into the tight end 1 for an explosive offense, have incredible touchdown upside, but also PPR upside. And so that's where I'm going there. And then I kind of have to take a shot here at wide receiver. A few guys I somewhat like. I'd love to take Bryan Edwards just so that I have the potential Raiders number 1, kind of like you did. But I think out of this group, I still like Jamison Crowder a bit. But I think I'm taking Traquan Smith. I think that's the ultimate dart throw because I think I probably could have waited a little bit, but with how I have been sniped so far, I can't do it. So
speaking of because Ferguson just went, I have 2 tight ends. I get it. They're so good in this format. I'm taking the upside of another guy that if it's not working out, I can just forget about. I'm taking Gerald Everett. The talk is Seattle camp so far. I think he has a shot to fully break out. I now regret it now that Ramondre Stevenson went off the board because I was trying to handcuff myself.
Dude, look at all those Patriots running backs. James White, Rashad Perriman, which also would have been a really good shot, and my Traquan Smith. Damn it. Denzel Mims, Marlon Mack, Ramondre Stevenson, Sony Michel, Savon Ahmed, Gio Bernard also would have been a good shot. Lev Bell, Elijah Mitchell, you're back on the clock.
I want to point out there's quarterbacks on the board here. I'm not taking them because maybe 1 or 2 of them would be on the board at this point.
Yeah.
And the Sky Fishbowl, I'm just letting them go. And I already have 3, so I can not worry about it. I think John Brown would be a good hedge my bet pick here. But I am going to move on and go for, just like Paris Campbell, I'm getting a guy that has a chance to break out and be the full wide receiver 1, be a PPR darling, get those first downs that are so clutch in this format. I'm going Jacoby Myers.
You son of a bitch.
This is why me and Christian aren't in the same division. I want that pointed out right now. Because this is what we would do to each other.
If you're watching live right now, you can see where my mouse is down here.
I'm not looking at yours, so.
I know you aren't, but if someone was, they saw I was hovered over Jacoby ready to freaking take him. All right, Darrington Evans, Devontae Booker, Damian Williams, who still is on, or is that Daryl? That might be Daryl.
That's Daryl.
Okay, yeah, Daryl Williams, Wayne Gallman, Jerick McKinnon. You're a jerk, dude.
I mean, you're not wrong.
You know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to take Bryan Edwards here since he's still here, and I discussed him like 3 rounds ago.
Look at you.
Being smart. And then I am going to shout out Jeff one more time. I'm going to take Ty Johnson. I think he has an opportunity maybe to take over more of that backfield than people want to admit. And I should have taken a kicker. I was waiting.
I was taking Jason Myers. Or not Jason Myers. Wait, is he still there?
No, he's gone. He went.
No.
So Harrison Butker, Jason
I
Tucker.
want to take Sanders. That's who I was taking.
Jason Sanders.
The highest scoring kicker from last year. In these kind of settings.
This is dumb. I have
a kicker revolution.
Yeah, so all of the kickers. We just had a run of 11 straight kickers, and then we had 5 quarterbacks come off the board. Interesting that Cam Newton came off after Ryan Fitzpatrick in this format.
Cam would have been gone already. Maybe Ben and Fitz still there, and Goff. I don't know. But I don't think at this point they'd still be there. I think the kickers they have a range from about like 12th round through the rest of the draft for some people with how much they could score in this format certain weeks. So, but again, this is Randy taking upside at wide receiver. Amari Rodgers, who could be a favorite target of the possible returning Aaron Rodgers. I think it's still most likely will be Lazard, but I have to take a shot.
Yeah, I ended up taking Brandon McManus because I think the Denver offense is going to be good, but good to the point that I think they will kick quite a few field goals. I think it's a decent shot at this point.
Mm-hmm. You want good with that like extra point, like guaranteed probably like 3 or 4 points a week with the shot at getting like 10 points from field goals too. Yeah, it's weird, but it could work.
It could. All right. Here I'm looking at, Terrace Marshall's here. We already talked about Terrace Marshall. If I'm taking a rookie here, I'm taking Nico Collins, and I already have Brandon Cooks. That's a lot of stock. I'm not doing that. I'm going to take Alan Lazard instead.
It's fair. Smart to
right.
hit your bet against me.
Yeah, it really is.
Pick him.
It didn't let me. I don't know what's happening.
There it goes. Bet for right. Jordan Love was who I was going to discuss. I wasn't going to take him, but he is a guy later in these rounds that it makes sense to take, especially if you're not like set on your QB3. If Rodgers somehow isn't back, I mean, that's an impressive 19th round pick.
Yeah.
Just saying.
For sure.
Again, we're at the Warden quarterbacks, though. I have to go to my queue, and I am picking quite possibly the 1B to my other running back, and a guy that could eventually take it over, possibly. A lot of people think has a chance. Malcolm Brown. I rotating back to running backs to take more shots.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy with my receivers.
After you, Kirk, Drew Lock, Jamison Crowder, Emmanuel Sanders, O.J. Howard, Andy Dalton, Nico Collins, damn it, Tyrod Taylor, Hayden Hurst, Van Jefferson. Again, like Randy keeps pointing out, these quarterbacks probably won't be here in Scott Fishbowl in your actual draft. So take that with a grain of salt. That your draft board might look a little bit different, but still, we're getting the concept of team building here. Randy,
exactly. You're on. Oh. Did you think I was stopping with the running backs? No. P. Ryan. Michael P. Ryan. Right. I'm taking another shot to hedge your bet against Ty Johnson, and I get it's a much later pick than you did. I think it's 5 or 4 rounds later. And again, a guy not working out, cut right away.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty upset because at this point, like I'm looking to add to the tight end room, and I was going to add Dawson Knox, and of course he goes 2 picks after you, after Quintez Cephas, and then following him, De'Ami Brown, Sterling Shepard, AJ Green, pretty late pick here, and so now I probably need to add to the tight end room, but I don't really love what I'm seeing. And so I'll look at the wide receivers and vomit. And so then I'll look at the running backs.
Vomit again?
Yeah, pretty much. No. I am going to... Oh, Jared Dokes? No. Yeah. No. Fuck. This is not fun.
Make up your mind, bro.
I'm sorry. I'm going back to tight ends. And so what I'm going to do... I know
Tim
Dan
Tebow?
Arnold... No. I know Dan Arnold gets some hype. Mo Alley Cox is probably worth it here, but if I'm taking a tight end right now, it's upside. I think David Njoku could end up the tight end 1 for the Browns this year, especially based on touchdown volume. So I'm taking him. Damn it, I have another pick. This is the worst.
Yeah. While you make that, Njoku, again, just like my picks this last 2 rounds, makes perfect sense. It's a guy that has high upside possibility, but if it's not working out, you have your guy that you're cutting for the waiver wire. Because there is a waiver wire in this, so.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think this is. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Matt Breida.
Oh.
I think Matt Breida presents a different dynamic to that Buffalo Bills backfield. I think you could see the field more than people expect. So, full send.
I am going to believe in a guy I believed in last year. I'll go with Joshua Kelly. I don't know if he's making the team fully. They're going to keep two backs to pair with. Wow. Why am I blanking on that?
Austin Eckler
Austin
and
Eckler, thank
Justin
you.
Jackson.
Well, they're going to keep two backs to pair with him. I think it's one of either Roundtree is going to practice squad because he's a rookie. I don't think they're keeping four. Someone's getting cut, and I think it's probably going to be Justin Jackson just because he's older and he hasn't like shown out. Him and Kelly kind of were about the same last year. So if me as a GM, I would cut Jackson and just keep the two young guys and hope for the best. I think the best pick here in the late round, correct me if I'm wrong, Christian, it's another kicker.
It could be, yeah.
There's no one left, I think, is like a true. I mean, we're talking Palmer, maybe. Tyrell Williams has a chance to be wide receiver one. I hate it. Deshaun Jackson for 1 week. Boston Scott, maybe. Like, I mean, it's ugly here. Absolutely disgustingly down bad, ugly. And maybe Jack Doyle for that first down upside. For me, I'm taking a kicker. If there's one team I know, it's 4th and 3. They're inside the 10. They're kicking it. It's the fucking Raiders. Carlson it is. I know it. I've seen it way too many times.
Yeah, and then I'm actually gonna roll with the same kind of mindset here. A few like upside guys came off the board, and I don't hate it at all. But at this point, I'm gonna go with my boy Cody Parkey. I think the Browns are a very good offense. They're gonna score a lot of points, and so Randy, read me.
The reason I didn't do Parkey over Carlson is because the Browns were more efficient in the red zone last year. That was literally my decision right there.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. My team is weird. Russell Wilson, Josh Jacobs, Myles Gaskin. I don't hate those two. But Odell Beckham, Darnell Mooney, Henry Ruggs, Travis Kelce, George Kittle in the flex, Trey Sermon, Damian Harris, Tom Brady, Jason Sanders with Derek Carr, Zach Moss, Paris Campbell, Gerald Everett, Jacoby Myers, Amari Rodgers, Malcolm Brown, Michael Peter, and Joshua Kelly, Daniel Carlson, all on the bench. The wide receivers besides Odell, who has a chance to be a back-end wide receiver one, but most likely he's going to be a wide receiver two. It's just all pure upside. Like I said, I probably wouldn't draft like this, and that's mainly because I don't think I have a shot to get 2 of the top 3 tight ends. I wanted to see what it would look like if I could. I think it's kind of worth it, but I think I definitely need to almost devalue the quarterback position. I shouldn't have went Brady. I should have went a wide receiver running back there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, my team, Lamar Jackson, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Terry McLaurin, Brandon Cooks, Mike Williams, Darren Waller, Chase Edmonds, Naeem Hines, Jamal Williams, Ryan Tannehill, Brandon McManus, Justin Fields, Cole Beasley, Blake Jarwin, Traquan Smith, Brian Edwards, Ty Johnson, Alan Lazard, David Njoku, Matt Breida, and then Cody Parkey. I hate it. I don't like my team at all. I think what I would have done different is, granted, in Scott Fishbowl, obviously I don't even think Lamar will be there. I don't think that many running backs come off the board. So my strategy from the 12. My strategy currently is to get Waller and a running back and then wait on the quarterbacks. And I think I would have liked that a little bit better because then I could have followed up with Swift and a quarterback.
At 6, I am looking at Kelce, probably not getting him from what I'm seeing. But like I said, every division's draft will be different. I'm going to look at Kelce. I'm going to look at one of the top quarterbacks or one of the top running backs. In most mocks I can't get Kelce. So I had the shot. And again, I should have went Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, maybe instead of Kittle, because I don't think Kittle gets back. I think you picked Waller. I think that's realistic. He might go at 10 or 11, but I think that other team at like 8, 9, 10, 11, if they drafted their quarterback, is going tight end. So I don't think I can get 2 of the 3 at pick 6, in my opinion. But on the off chance it's happened, I'm going to take the shot. I've heard rumors of some people attempting to take like 6 tight ends this year in the Scott Fish Bowl because of the increased market value of the tight end for this league. I took 3, 2 gods and 1 possible really good tight end too. So those guys are going to carry me to help the wide receivers.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like I said, I'd probably approach this a little differently. I will approach this differently. Based on my draft board. But
like I said, it was a chance to do it. I'll never get that chance again, probably. So I wanted to try it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that'll do it. We walked through our burning questions for the NFC South, and we did a Scott Fish Bowl 11 mock draft. Again, shout out to Scott Fish. What he does is he brings awareness to Fantasy Cares and to just donating to charity, and that's a great thing in itself. We're very, very honored to be a part of it this year. I'm very excited. If you guys didn't get into Scott Fish Bowl, don't worry. I believe they're still filling spots, so you still technically could. But if you don't, it took us a couple of years too. So it's very competitive. Everyone wants in it, and Scott and Ryan try to put as many people as they can in. So
also, is the satellite drafts the 5th too, or are they later?
I think they're later, but I don't know.
I think we can probably get to a best ball mock either next week or the week after. To help with that as well, because that might reach more listeners. Because I was so excited to be in the satellite last year. I'm more excited this year. But also, Scott has tweeted out every kind of possible way you could help out all these charities, whether that's buying a shirt with some cool designs of different artists and bands. It looks incredible. I have one for my division. And about half the proceeds, or a third of it, goes to the charities. Just retweeting stuff, just watching the podathons all the time. There's so many different ways you can get involved as well. And honestly, it's just fun. We're going to be talking about it through the season. So, we couldn't contain our excitement. We had to do a mock on the show and just be really happy about it.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys, that'll do it. Again, remember, check out thecutffb.com, bookmark that. We'll have a lot of content coming your way. Make sure if you're watching right now, you go click into your favorite podcast app and subscribe to the show. And we would very, very much so appreciate any 4 or 5-star reviews, preferably 5. If we're a 1-star podcast, remember, just DM us and tell us that we're just a 1-star podcast, but leave us the 5 because it'll help. We appreciate you. We joke like that. But really let us know any feedback on the show. We love getting better. We want to bring content that you guys want to hear as well. We've always said that. We will always say that. So let us know what you want us to talk about. Next week we will be back. Like Randy said, we might be doing a best ball draft, but we will definitely be doing the AFC South burning questions. And
we can give you small updates on our actual Scott Fish Bowl drafts going on, because they start at 10 a.m. Eastern next Monday. I'm off somehow, so I'm excited to wake up somewhat hungover and draft.
And we also have a contributors league that we can touch on some of the things happening in that draft as well. And then we've got some fun things to talk about. Eventually, we're going to talk through like training camp battles and things like that, things to keep an eye on. A lot of stuff coming your way. Randy, do you have anything else to add before we bounce?
Nope.
Alrighty. Well, for Randy Hall, I am Christian Williams. We will talk to you guys next Monday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Later.